Thorsten Wittmann und wir befinden uns heute in New York City im Büro eines sehr guten Bekannten von mir, Sal Buschemi, ehemaliger US-Investment-Banker. Sehr interessanter Mann, der ebenfalls da ein bisschen die Seiten gewechselt hat. Wir haben heute ein interessantes Interview in der heutigen Freitagsepisode von Faszination Freiheit. Ja, und ich werde ihm ein paar interessante Fragen stellen. Sal.
Hi, Thorsten. Nice to see you here in New York.
So, thank you very much for your invitation here.
Thank you for being our guest.
Yeah, very nice. I would like to introduce you to my community, but I think the best one, you could do it. You were working for one of the biggest investment banks.
One of the biggest.
And changed a little bit the sides. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background. What are you doing?
I went to college, university in New York City. I rode in college, and I used that to network my way to Wall Street. And my first job out of college was as an analyst at Goldman Sachs, and this was during the late 90s. And the first department I worked in was what we call the equity capital markets. So we brought a lot of companies public, the IPOs, if you remember, in the late 90s. Now we call that the go-go 90s because everything just went right up, just launched. After that, when things slowed down, I was actually asked to move over to the real estate investment group. And that's where I really learned and developed a passion for everything as it relates to commercial real estate, also some residential real estate in a different capacity. But that's really where I learned the business from the best, most qualified professionals, I think, in the world. These were world-class bankers. It was a very competitive job to get. But I also learned to see what was happening behind the scenes as far as finance, not just on a micro scale, but on a macroeconomic scale.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
So, in general, the financial area is quite interesting. What's going on there? The reputation, let's say, modest. Well, it's not the best, maybe.
It's not the
financial
best.
Area.
No.
So, what do you think about it? Is it really that corrupt, as we always see here in the media, that banks are kind of selfish? They are searching for their own advantage first.
I think that has happened in many years. I think the housing bust in 2008 sort of exasperated that, and the reason for that is because that was the first time that a country had a housing bubble that was systemic and worldwide. There were a lot of people who were buying mortgages based on homes in this country. I think also that we're in an interconnected global economy right now. So you combine that and the media, which I think is, in my view, can be very propagandic sometimes. It becomes very prohibitive, I think, for the person who doesn't have a financial background to really understand what happens in the real world of finance. It's very different than what you see. I think there's a lot of sensationalization that happens with movies like The Wolf of Wall Street or Wall Street, the Michael Douglas films. But that's more of a sensationalistic way of looking at it. Wall Street does play a big prominent role in being able to facilitate people to be able to get into investments that they normally would not have been able to get into, or to be able to buy homes, using maybe not going in with much of their own money at all. It's really greasing the skids to allow them to be able to have more opportunity than they would have had, say, 20 or 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So, and there are some recommendations. What do you think is interesting for somebody who wants to improve the financial life, to get more financial freedom in general life?
Yeah, I think...
About also relate maybe what you're doing. So you're teaching about real estate, and there's a lot of money in that area.
Well, if you look at it from a global perspective, we're in a global interdependent economy today. And the U.S. is seen today, especially now with a new president, as being the safe place for rich people to invest. There's still a lot of money coming in, and it's investing in real estate in all shapes and sizes. The Chinese are investing because they're using it as a Swiss bank account, right? People today, because of countries such as Germany, Denmark, you're seeing that rates are actually going negative. So people are getting very concerned, and they're putting that money overseas into the United States. So the United States is always going to be a safe place for people to invest. I personally think more so than before, especially now that we have a new administration and the first president who has made his wealth in commercial real estate. He's a deal maker, he understands it. He also has a bunch of people, including my ex-boss, who's now Treasury Secretary. So the opportunity has never been greater for people to prosper off of that, but I think you need to be able to be educated. You need to educate and know what you're doing when you get into these deals. And you need to look at them dispassionately. You can't go in on emotion, because a lot of people make mistakes investing on emotion. They're not paying attention to
especially finance.
Yeah, especially in finance. They all, everybody, regardless of shape, color, and size, has the greed gene, right? They have that DNA. They see something happening. But if you train yourself to look at things, to be able to structure the risk away from you, then at that point you start to understand, you become more confident, you're able to take care of things faster and take care of more deals and be able to really understand the business, just like you would anything else, whether it's any other type of industry, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a surgeon, whether you're an accountant or a lawyer. You just need to know enough in order to be successful, and if not, you need to make sure that you have people who are experienced to help you and guide you along the way.
Okay. So last question, what do you think about, little forecast, what do you think about the financial area, financial system? You think it will be easier in future, everything is okay, everything is fine? In which direction are we heading?
I think, if we were to look at the economy as a whole, I think again, we're in an interdependent economy. That means anything that happens overseas is going to affect the United States and vice versa. I think in the next 6 months, I would just really be cautious. I would learn as much as I can about deal structuring, about the asset that I want to invest in, not buy on emotion, but just wait and see what happens. I think there will be far more opportunities because we're in a moment right now in our history that we've never had such polarization. We've never had for a long time, we haven't had a strong U.S. leader, start to negotiate with countries and take a hard line. So I don't think anything bad is going to happen. I think it's going to be great. However, I don't think, as far as interest rates, I don't see interest rates really going up in our lifetime at all. I don't think they're going to go up to 5-6%, which they were in the late 90s. And I think we're in an era right now where we are in an economy that's principally driven by debt and the availability of cheap and easy debt to get. And that also inflates all asset prices, so you have to be very careful. But I also see that there's going to be opportunities there where there's a lot of people who made mistakes, especially in commercial real estate. They didn't know what they were doing, and there's going to be opportunities for investors to come in. And I think that's really where the opportunity is today. There will be a stronger dollar, I think, too, which is good or bad the way you look at it. But as far as I'm concerned, interest rates, I think, are going to be the same, flat. And in some countries, like maybe Germany and Denmark, you could see them actually go negative. And that's really an emotional process if you think about it, where you feel as though you need to do something, and that capital, I think, is going to come to the U.S. So if I was someone who was overseas, I would look at the opportunity of aggregating capital to put it into U.S. assets.
Okay, so Sal, thank you very much.
Thorsten, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming to New York. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Okay, so heute die ganz interessante Episode von Faszination Freiheit. We will also show you a link for the people interested.
Thank you.
We have also a very interesting podcast, so people, so da können Sie sich dann den Podcast auch ansehen. Ist dann auf Englisch jeweils, aber sehr interessant. Und ja, gerade im Immobilienbereich definitiv sehr interessant, was Sal Buschemi und sein Team hier alles machen. Also, wir sehen uns ansonsten nächsten Freitag dann wieder. Freuen Sie sich wieder. Ich bereite wieder was Interessantes für Sie vor, für die nächste Episode von Faszination Freiheit. Und schön, dass Sie heute wieder mit dabei waren. Wenn Sie noch nicht eingetragen sind unterhalb des Videos, dort Ihre E-Mail eintragen auf dem orangenen Button. Wir sehen uns nächste Woche dann wieder. Leben Sie Ihre finanzielle Freiheit, verwirklichen Sie Ihre Lebensträume. Bis nächste Woche.
ist neutral, was viele andere nicht sind. Er liebt dieses Thema